I already regret this. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna paint you guys a picture real quick, okay? Now imagine there's someone that you know and they're already crazy, someone you hate to be around, right? Somehow every single time you see them, they just keep getting worse and worse and you didn't even think it was even possible. But you finally have enough and then you decide, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, I'm just done giving you the attention. And then one day out of nowhere, they turn back up and they somehow like did a complete 180 in the worst way possible. I'm sorry if I just described your aunt that lives in Nebraska and still watches Days of Our Lives, but that's not who we're talking about today. Because today we are talking about Oli London. I'm sorry. Now, there might be a couple different things that you recognize Oli from. Maybe it's his love of Korean culture. Maybe it's his music career. Or maybe it's his most recent endeavors. No matter what you know Oli from, you probably just hate him. So I thought today we could look at the history of Oli London and see what got him to this new place that he's at now. Now, if you've known about him for a while, then odds are you know him for being a pretty hardcore K-pop stan. And I know that K-pop stans are already pretty hardcore. I don't think I've ever outright said this on my channel, but I actually listen to K-pop. I've been listening to K-pop since 2011, so I've been around for a while. I've been around long enough to know that you have to do a lot for the K-pop fandom to think that you're crazy. Believe me when I say that Oli does not disappoint.
I want my entire lifestyle to revolve around K-pop, and I want my entire look to look like Jimin, the lead singer of BTS, because for me, he's perfection.
Oh my god, dude. Just letting you know, if you want your life to revolve around K-pop, you can do that. Like, you can buy the albums, stream the music videos, maybe even run a fan account if you really feel like it. A lot of things you can do without, like, mutilating yourself beyond recognition.
I was always like insecure because, to be honest, I had very bad acne when I was at school. And
hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
Now, what gets me is Oli was actually a good-looking guy before. He does mention that, like, he had insecurities about his acne and his nose, which I can understand, but, like, you know what CeraVe is? God, you know, men will literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a surgery and, like, completely changing their face and not even being recognizable at the end of it, instead of just, like, letting water touch their face. I feel like this is where I should say that I really don't care if you want plastic surgery. If you have the finances to do it and you really feel like it'll help with your confidence, then by all means, go for it. But, like, this...
I had all of the fatty tissue removed from my chest, so you can still see I have the scars and it's still very sore. I've also had a blepharoplasty, which basically was work on my eyelids for rhinoplasties, angle reduction, which is basically a jawline surgery. I also have a silicone chin implant here. Oh my god.
This feels like a bit much to me. I was really insecure about my acne on my nose, so I had all of the fat from my chest sucked out. Why? BTS? Also, another question I have.
How does he make fucking money? Who's paying for this shit? Who's paying for it? I want to know who's paying for this. Who's paying for it? Who's paying for this shit?
This was like his first interview he ever did, and he had already reached $100,000. Are you a trust fund baby? Do your parents secretly own a company? Do you like secretly work for Dispatch and you have all this dirt on different idols that they like have to let you do this without facing consequences?
Well, I'm not exactly changing my race. Like, I'm not saying that I want to be Asian as such. I'm always going to be, you know, British, Caucasian, but I would like to look as close as possible to Koreans, like Korean pop stars and Jimin.
Hold on to that clip because we're going to need that again here in a little bit. So after that first interview, Oli actually gets to go to Korea and have a procedure done.
Oh my god, my god! BTS, Jimin! Oh my god! I love
Another milk. Help! Help! Help me! Help! Help me!
I'm usually pretty lenient on stan behavior because, like, I understand. Giving a poster a quick smooch is one thing, but you're, like, plastering them with kisses, bro.
I love ice cream. Ice cream is amazing.
Oh, it's so good, especially Korean ice cream. I want Jimin flavor. Do they have Jimin flavor? I want Jimin flavor. Do they have Jimin flavor?
Why, bitches should shut the fuck up!
How can I say I am your biggest fan?
나는 너의 굉장한 팬입니다.
나는 너의 팬저는 팽당.
나는 너의 팬입니다.
나는 너의
Help! Help!
We're not doing this. You're done. this, no, stop. Like, you actually have to like learn the alphabet and like pronunciations, right? Now this one right here, is this Nanan no ye? Nanan no ye?
The nostrils are very uneven and it just looks very big and bulbous. So I wanted like a very cute K-pop nose and a very cute, smaller face.
Imagine flying to South Korea to get a surgery done by Korean doctors, and the very first thing that comes out of your mouth is that you want a K-pop nose. Just immediately letting them know you don't actually respect like their culture. We have this kid in for a consultation, and he said he wants a K-pop nose. What the fuck? No, we can't do that. I'm not comfortable doing that. Right, look at the check that he wrote. Come on. So Oli gets the procedure done and then comes back home, and listen to what they did to him.
I'll tell you what I got. So I got a rhinoplasty, which was fixing my nose again.
What I thought he was having, yeah.
And then I also got an alloplasty, which is the base of my nose to make the nostrils more even. Also had my cheekbone reduced. Basically, they cut in my hairline down to here, open up the skin and shave the bone down. Also done chin contouring. So I had a genioplasty with a T osteomy, which is basically shaving down the bone of my chin to make it sharp. And
all K-pop stars have a very sharp V-line, very painful because it's shaving the bone from the inside of the mouth.
Again, if this is like your thing, then fine, I don't care. You're having your skull like shaved down and you're having skin sucked out of your cheeks to look like your favorite singer. No, personally, my favorite K-pop group is SHINee, but you don't see me getting a surgery to look like Taemin, right? Which I don't even really need because we already look exactly the same.
I'm almost done. Just need to do my eyes, a little eyebrow lift.
Almost
done. Almost done.
Look what happened to Michael Jackson.
Well, I'm not Michael Jackson, I'm Jimin. I'm not Michael Jackson, I'm Jimin. I'm not going that far.
Oli.
I'm Oli. Oli AO.
So you remember when you were a kid and you had like that one really big obsession? Like for me, it was Blue's Clues. When I was that age, I thought I was Steve from Blue's Clues. So, like I had the shirt, I had the handy dandy notebook, I had toys of all the characters, like I even had the thinking chair. You could say that was a bit much for me to do, but I was also like 4 years old. What if I like never grew out of that? Like when I was graduating, I just like skidooed across the stage or something.
The day that Barcroft got released, your life began.
It began, you know, it changed my life for the better. I've turned into a butterfly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he made music too. I want to ask these people one question. How much was the paycheck? Because me personally, that paycheck would have had to be pretty damn good to not like laugh in Oli's face the whole time. I'm also pretty sure he was hiring a video editor off Fiverr to make these. And he was not willing to pay much, probably because he spent so much on his surgeries. Now, he has other music that I'll bring up later, but for right now, this is what he thought was releasable to the public. It doesn't even really sound like K-pop at all. It sounds like the music that Jeffree Star made when he made music. And if you remember the music that Jeffree Star made, well, good luck, Charlie. After this, Oli was getting invited on a lot of TV shows, which were mostly just him talking about his surgeries. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of them just felt like they were capitalizing on like his own mental illnesses to like have content basically, which I'm kind of doing right now. Shut up, all right? This is different, right? Oh my God, is this different? Anyways. Now, one in particular that stood out to me was his appearance on Dr. Phil, who I want to mention doesn't even have like a doctorate anymore, so you're just like signing up to get advice from some guy. You'd get better advice from the guy that like hangs around the back of the gas station. No, he doesn't work there. That's actually none of your business.
My cheeks, I have no feeling at all, so when I smile, it actually feels uncomfortable. I actually love being in recovery. I love lying in bed with bandages. I'm always at my happiest at that time.
Oli, I want to tell you something I don't think anyone ever told you back then. If you're at your happiest when like you're in tons and tons of pain like that, then that is an addiction. I will say in this clip, I'm not the biggest fan of Dr. Phil either. He's just saying the most surface level thing possible to him.
But you're wanting to be a clone or a replica of someone else, which is an insult to you.
This is the shit that his friends probably should have been telling him from the jump. Well, you know, you really shouldn't pretend to be somebody else. Thank you for the deep psychological insight, Philip McGraw.
This is my new look, the blonde hair, the plastic surgery, and I'm happy. Like, if you look at the pictures of me and Jimin, we're identical. When I was in Korea, everyone calls me Jimin when I'm walking down the street. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's Jimin, it's Jimin. Like, everyone.
Everyone, boo this nigga.
Now, before we get to the things that really made me mad, I want to laugh at him some more, so let's go back to his music career. Oli has clearly always had such a huge passion for music, not just wanting to do it because that's what Jimin does for a living. He's got so many good songs, like I don't think I could possibly fit them all into this one video. There's one in particular that I would love to mention. Oli has a song called Lockdown City, and he said it was like his take on like Korean hip-hop music.
Oli London.
This just looks like he can't actually move, otherwise like his whole face is just gonna fall apart. The only thing I've seen him get right about Korean culture so far is having cornrows when he has like absolutely no right to. The song has a feature from a Korean rapper named Sten, and I feel so bad for him. He's actually not that bad. Like I can see some potential there. I just want to know how much Oli and like whatever team he has were paying to get people to do this. My guess is that they had to pay so much to get people in the video that they had nothing left for editing. Now, I'm not sure how much of the song I can play because of copyright, but I would love to give you a dramatic retelling of the lyrics. Lockdown City, and the girls in the jam, and they look so pretty. Lock it down, lock it down. Excuse me. Lockdown City, and you feel so fine when you making love all of the time. A true poet. The only explanation I have for that is Oli had to write it himself, because if he hired a professional songwriter to make that for him, well, good luck, Charlie. All right, so I need you to buckle up for this next part, because this is where it just gets absolutely bonkers. Any benefit of the doubt you could have given him is just gone. Yeah, so you remember that thing before where he said that he wasn't trying to be Korean?
I'm Oli London. I'm originally from the UK, but actually identify as Korean, so I'm from Busan, South Korea.
Well, I'm not exactly changing my race. Like, I'm not saying that I want to be Asian as such. I'm always going to be, you know, British, Caucasian. But I would
actually identify as Korean, so...
You can't do that, Oli. Like, trying to pose yourself as an ethnicity you're not is an example of cultural appropriation, which is something that he claimed to be against in his first video. Now, another thing I've loved is, like, every single video you see with him is, like, a different set of friends. Like, the group of friends we see in his first video are the only ones that, like, questioned what he was doing. We don't see them again, so I'm assuming that's part of it. Granted, he is in Texas for this one, so maybe these are, like, his Texas friends or something. But Oli definitely seems the type that he would just, like, keep circling out his friend group until he got one that, like, blindly supported him doing this. Like, they're not hating on you, man. They're concerned about your well-being.
Previous doctors have warned me if I have one more nose surgery, my nose could fall off.
Then like, don't fucking do it. If I was trying to get a procedure done and the doctor told me like my nose could fall off, I'm saving myself thousands of dollars and crying myself to sleep the way that God intended. So he gets the surgery, and this is apparently what he has wanted all along.
Guys, this is it. I've got my new nose, and oh my God, it's so, so beautiful. Here it is. This is my new nose, guys. I am so happy, and I can't believe it. You know, I've waited my whole life. This is what I've always wanted.
That was what you wanted? Not to like shame appearances or anything, but like, this is the worst your nose has looked so far.
People need to accept the fact I do look like Jimin. I'm pretty much identical to Jimin.
Motherfucker. Oli, you look like the spider from Sunny Patch. You do not look like Jimin. And as much as I hated that, I regret to inform you it still gets so much worse. This is somehow the funniest, yet like most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen someone be convinced of. Oli was a part of this debate on transracialism, where at the time he said he identified as a non-binary Korean. And the person that was debating against him kind of washed the floor with him, though I don't think that would have been very difficult to do.
I identify as Korean. I used to live in Korea. I was living there for 1 year. I love the culture, I love the history, the people. You know, I've put myself through a lot of pain. I've had a lot of surgical procedures to have more of a Korean aesthetic. I spend a lot of time learning the language, learning how to cook Korean food.
I think the main tell that he's either just lost on his delusion or doing all of this for attention is the fact that he thinks he can identify as Korean because he lived in Korea and loves K-pop. A lot of people do that, man. There's people that have done like most of the stuff that you've done, but they don't spend $150,000 on surgeries or try to claim that they're Korean. There's even a part where they bring up white privilege and how like no matter how much you love and appreciate the culture, you're never going to understand like the same struggles that they face in society. And here was Oli's response to that.
agree with that. Every person that was, born Asian, they do go through these struggles. I understand what you're saying in terms of white privilege. I've never had that experience, but I am not one of those people. I am completely different, so I don't like to be put in the same category as someone like that. I understand some people might get offended by what I do, but I'm not actually going out there doing bad things. I'm not doing anything to hurt people. I'm just living my truth. I'm doing what makes me happy.
Oli, I hate to tell you, but the shoe fits here. Or in your case, the shitty cornrows fit. I think Oli's just reached that level of delusion where he knows that he's not fooling anybody, and I don't really think he's even fooling himself. He's made it this far, so he just has to keep going. Now, not long after this, Oli also did an interview with Daily Mail where he announced that he was wanting to transition into a Korean woman. And you guys know my channel by now, right? If I really believed that Oli was just wanting gender affirming care and wanting to express their truest self, then I wouldn't be bringing this up in a negative way. Specifying you want to be a Korean woman, that tells me that you're not being legit. Oli also says that the inspiration was to look like Rosé from Blackpink. Now, maybe this is biased because I used to have the biggest crush on Rosé, but leave her alone. Stay away from her. And I honestly think that was the final nail in the coffin for people, because after that, I didn't hear anything for a while about Oli. In a just world, I think that really would have been the end. We would have realized Oli was beyond help. He either wasn't willing to admit that all of this was wrong, or just wouldn't admit that this was all for attention. Could have left it in the past. He could have been a bygone blimp in the current pop culture era. But of course, just like the idols that keep getting cornrows even though we're begging the stylist to stop doing that, Oli just had to come back, and you never would have guessed where. So 6 months after the Daily Mail interview, Oli comes out and says that he's detransitioning back into a man. And there was a very big asterisk with that, because not long after, he also announces that he is converting to Christianity and is looking into the Catholic side of things. And then he did this interview with Newsmax.
Change as an adult, make that decision as an adult, but we shouldn't be pushing this woke narrative on kids that it's okay to change from a young age when it's very harmful.
Yeah, I'm approaching this with the idea that Oli himself knows all of this is bullshit, but I'm gonna dispute it anyways. I love all of his talks about how transitioning is disrespectful to women, but isn't bringing up how his transitioning was being disrespectful to Korean people. You're leaving out the love of your life Jimin here. Also, him getting upset about white privilege and white supremacy being brought up is maybe because the call was coming from inside the house. You can't convince me of that after seeing him on Tucker Carlson.
This is the new norm, and schools are teaching about toxic masculinity. They're eroding the alpha male. The alpha straight male has been eroded. Tucker, what happened years ago?
How does my channel always just get back to alpha males? It's a gift and a curse. Also, I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to say this again on my channel, so I'm going to get it out now. Tucker Carlson looks like a baby that just freshly pooped his diaper and talks like one. There's a lot worse things I want to say about Tucker Carlson, but I don't want this video to get deleted. So
ago, when kids used to go to school, they used to idolize Superman and astronauts. Now kids are being pushed this radical ideology. They're taught to idolize weak men like Harry Styles, weak politicians like Beto O'Rourke.
You know what would have been really funny is if he just completely flipped the script and talked about BTS. Kids used to have such strong alpha males to look up to and adore. Now they look up to BTS and Jimin. You've seen what happens to people when they look up to Jimin. Now, before I move on, I want to bring up this video of him defending Chris Wu. So if you're not in the K-pop sphere, Chris Wu was a former member of the K-pop group EXO who recently got into some legal trouble to the point that he got sentenced to 13 years in prison.
I always believe in innocent until guilty. However, I don't trust the Chinese system.
Now, granted, Oli has a newfound knack for spreading misinformation, but do you think there's anybody that could have told him not to do this?
Well, Dagan, I think it's totally insulting to women. There are so many incredible women out there that deserve sponsorships from brands like Nike. And the fact that Dylan is a biological man and he has made a career, a very lucrative career, from basically mocking women.
Now, one thing I love here is how Oli loves to bring up children and is like, oh, well, we don't care what you do as an adult, but don't push it on the children. You're actively misgendering and insulting Dylan, who is an adult that transitioned. So something tells me you actually do care. Computer, define grifter.
Grifter, a person who engages in petty or small-scale swindling.
I swear before he does these interviews, he just gets on his computer and just reads whatever's on Fox News at the time.
Yeah. He's taken away those rights because they're so woke and they're interfering with politics. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the new Little Mermaid does look very woke. So it really wouldn't surprise me if they did change the pronouns of Ariel, maybe.
Oli, Was that an actual attempt at comedy? It says something that he's been so funny, like just being himself because of how ridiculous he is. And then the second he tries to make an actual joke, he just falls so flat. He also very briefly talks about his faith.
Things, depression with the way I looked. So, you know, in order to tackle that, I needed an outlet. And, you know, going to church was a really positive experience. The Christian community were incredibly welcoming.
Okay, like that's good, that's fine, but you shouldn't correlate a good experience in church with, I don't think these people should have rights. He even did an interview with the Catholic News Agency, which is a thing that exists. I'm sure we don't need to go through any of those hard drives. Ollie mentions that part of the reason for his detransition was that God made him the way that he is and he shouldn't change that, which is what my mom used to say to me when I would dye my hair. If you want to believe that for yourself, then like fine, but don't use young people as an excuse to just like spew hate and misinformation, because we all know the church has such a good history with young people, right? What's going on, everybody? I'm in the middle of editing right now. Got a new tattoo that I didn't have when I filmed that last one, but I just wanted to show it off anyways. I'm in the middle of editing right now, and something happened that I really need to share with y'all. So it turns out right after I recorded my video, Ollie was making an appearance on some other shows, and one of them included the H3 podcast with Ethan Klein. Recently, Ethan has started debating like really shitty people on his podcast, and thankfully one of the people was Oli London. The entire video is like an hour and a half long. I didn't have time to like sit through the entire thing, but I found some very interesting points I wanted to bring up. One interesting point I found in the video is that Ollie says he still supports trans people.
Absolutely. You know, I'm part of the LGBT community. I support people. My issue is just what's happening to children.
So you do support trans people in general?
So absolutely. So I support, you know, people as an adult making a decision if they want to change and they're happy with that.
I think he referred to them as the LGBT community in this video.
I'm part of the LGBT community.
I could have misheard and like he just said the T very fast, but you might also remember a little bit ago in the same video that he was misgendering and insulting Dylan Mulvaney, who is an adult that transitioned and fits the criteria for a trans person that he should respect. Ethan also exposes Ollie in an old clip that he basically says he's using the BLM movement for clout.
So it's basically every time I do a music video, it's like, if it's $1 million, it's £1,000. So, you know, if I just keep releasing music videos, that's like enough. And then also because I've been a lot on Twitter, there's been so many people talking about me on Twitter because I'm supporting the Black Lives Matter and protests and stuff. So I had 200,000 views on the video. So because of that as well, I'm getting a lot of requests. So it's just, you know, I'm just staying relevant in the news, on TV and stuff, because, you know, the more exposure I have, you know, if I'm trending on Twitter or whatever on TV, then the more cameos I get. So yeah, just...
So here you say you're supporting BLM to stay relevant and because it gets you more cameos. Have you been getting more cameos since you went right wing?
Well, firstly, that audio was from a number of years ago. It was edited deceptively by somebody that was completely uncredible and just basically desperate for attention.
It's your voice, correct?
It's my voice, but it was edited deceptively to try and make me look bad.
So what's the deception?
So I'm not doing any of this. What I'm doing now is to try and help people.
And I mean, I called that one. I could have told y'all that. He disrespected Korean people. Did you think he was gonna stop? He was gonna stop there? Other than that, it was just a lot of Ollie contradicting himself and Ethan making him look dumb, and it was equal parts amazing and just hard to watch. The full thing's like an hour and a half, and I didn't have time to like break down the entire thing for this video. If you want to check it out for yourself, I definitely recommend watching it because, like I said, it is an interesting watch. So that was everything for me. I just wanted to point out Ollie trying to like debate someone and failing miserably. Let's close out the video, shall we? Well, folks, the journey that we just went on was terrible, and I hate myself. Through this journey, we saw one person change his morals at any given opportunity to get whatever attention that he could. At least he's found an audience that'll accept him as long as they can use him to like keep spewing hate. Honestly, he kind of gives off like Todd Chrisley vibes now. Yeah, we totally believe you're a straight cis man with traditional values. Every like marginalized group of people will always have this one outlier. Yeah, honestly guys, we kind of suck. You should totally take our rights away. Kind of like go on these runs and like actively call for their own oppression. Usually they do this with the intent of like being exempt from having their rights taken away. They usually believe that they're on the team, but they're not. As soon as like you've served your purpose to them, you're their enemy again. So what is next for Oli London? Well, he's got a book coming out in a few months about his journey, which if it wasn't supporting him, I would totally buy it so then I could make a video about that. But I really don't feel like putting any money in his pocket, so that's probably not going to happen. But there is this hypothetical where if a PDF of the book becomes available and it's for free somewhere that doesn't support him at all, then like I could totally use that. I wouldn't do that because that's illegal and wrong. And if anybody happens to find that PDF file, they totally shouldn't DM me the link because that's also bad and illegal. All in all, I think I've come to the conclusion that Oli was just wanting attention, no matter where he got it from. Best guess is to just leave him behind in the zeitgeist. You know how there were all of those like original memes of like Bad Luck Brian and like the obsessive girlfriend and all that stuff? They were pretty funny in their prime, but now you look back and you're just like, oh my god. I think that's where Oli should also be. There's no positive side of Oli to look back on though, so I think that's about everything I can take. I've made a lot of videos recently about people that I don't like, which is kind of the territory of doing commentary videos. I want to make another video about something fun that isn't going to absolutely like piss me off by the end of it. If anyone has any ideas or suggestions of something that I may not like hate myself by the end of, you can leave that down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Make sure you leave a like on this video and make sure you also subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you never miss an upload from me. Subscribing will also like fund my own surgery to have my height lengthened. I'm already 6'1", but like I want to be 6'7". I always put my socials at like the end like tag thingy of my videos, but I want to say like you should definitely go follow my socials. I have TikTok, I have Twitter, I have Instagram. Those are like my most active ones, so those are the ones that like you should go follow me on. Anyways, thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you next time. So peace out, everyone. Night night, ding dong.